We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cage My IQ. I am your host, D-Bake. Today we will be previewing PFL Week 3 matchups, which is the women's lightweight division and the men's heavyweight division matchups. Right before we get into the second round of matchups for all the divisions out there. But once again, this is Cage My IQ. Before we get started, you can follow us on our Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch page right there to the left. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube page where all of our content is. Anything that you missed, just go to the YouTube page and it will be there for you to watch. Whether it's a day later or a week later, we've got it on there. And don't miss the interviews that we have on there. We have an extensive list of interviews that we've done over the past few months. So check them out and let us know what you think in the comment section. But once again, we are Cage My IQ, the best place for MMA content. And I am Daniel Bakley, your host. But getting into the fight card today, the first matchup we will be starting with on here will be a women's lightweight battle between Jenna Fabian going up against Laura Sanchez. This is a pretty interesting matchup where we got Laura Sanchez, who's coming off of her very first pro win. She's had an extensive amateur background, going 6-1 in her amateur career before getting the call to be a pro. And then she got her first win as a pro by a knockout. So she doesn't really have much of a tape pro-wise for you. But you can tell from her amateur background that she's been able to go the distance, and she's done that several times. And then, like I said before, the one pro fight that she had the one knockout. So she does have that in her repertoire. There's just not much to go by her since this is going to be her first true test because she hasn't really faced that much talent pro-wise. Whereas Jenna Fabian has had a more extensive background against opponents because she's fought pro longer than Sanchez has. And then in her background, she has a striking and boxing repertoire in her where she can go from one to the other at ease. And I just feel like in this matchup, just going by what I know and what I see, with their extensive background, and then the fact that these fighters are going to want to get that 6 points or get those finishes so they can get an advantage on the people that win by decision. I'm going to go with the Jenna Fabian by knockout in round 2. I feel like she has that boxing background that which she's going to rely on, and she's going to want to get this done within the finish. And rather than going the distance, she's the type of woman that can catch Laura Sanchez sleeping. I feel like she's going to weaken her out with a bunch of a strike in the first round, and then she's going to finish her off in the second round with a nice right hook that's going to catch her, and she's going to pick up the 5 points. Since you go to round 2, instead of 6 points, it's going to be only 5. But that's going to be a big 5 points with her, knowing who she has in that division. And she's going to get started right away with a second round knockout over Laura Sanchez. In the second matchup we have on this card, it's a heavyweight matchup right here, which pits Ali Izayah going up against Hot Tub Moell in a heavyweight matchup where we see pro fighting league veteran Ali Izayah getting his first matchup in this PFL of 2021. And his last time around in the tournament, he was able to dominate going into the finals. and he's a guy that has a wrestling background, but his ground and pound is just amazing. In his last time out, he was able to put over 400 significant strikes on the season, mainly because he uses his wrestling background. He throws his opponent on the ground, and then he just does a bunch of ground and pound where he wears the guy out, and then he either goes to decision or he goes to and wins by knockout. He just demolishes his opponent, and it's not just the wrestling that he gets him with. Like I said, he pours in a lot of volume in off that ground and pound, and he just makes him want to quit, and then he winds up just knocking him out majority of the wise. But this will be interesting just because Hot Tub Moell has a wrestling background in himself, where he does the similar aspect. He goes in, he wants to take the opponent down, and he wants to go after them for ground and pound. But he is more of a guy that will go to decision than he is finishing a guy. So it'll be interesting to see which guy will be able to get his opponent to the ground first, and whose takedown defense is going to be better than the other. But in this matchup, I feel like with the experience on his side, knowing the format, and knowing what to expect in this tournament, I'm going to go with Ali Azayev by a third round decision. I don't think he's going to knock out Hot Tub because he's a wrestling guy in himself, but I do feel like he's going to take it to decision with his gas tank. He's going to have his way with Hot Tub, and I feel like this is a matchup where he's going to land probably around 90 to 95 significant strikes, and he's going to dominate the matchup. He's not going to get that finish that'll give him that 4 or 5 or 6 points, depending on what round he does it in. But he'll pick up the 3 points, show his worth, and then move on to the second round with that 3 points on his side because of the experience. Moving on to the third matchup on the card, we have a women's lightweight matchup between defending champion Kayla Harrison going up against Mariana Moraes. Mariana Moraes, she has a good background on her. She's 16 wins and 10 losses. The majority of her losses are by decision, and then she's won a lot of her fights by decision, and then she's mixed in a couple of knockouts and a couple of submissions on her mind. But it's hard to press to go against Kayla Harrison in this matchup, where even though she's only fought about 8 times in her career, she's fought majority of those in the PFL, where she's won. She's the defending champion coming into this tournament. She's known for her judo. She's known for now, like, her striking's gotten a lot better. I think one thing that's going to be really good for Kayla Harrison going into this is the fact that she competed in November in Invicta FC to get a little bit of that ring rust off of not fighting since 2019. She was able to compete in there. She went down to featherweight, and she won by ground and pound. And she was able to use her elbows and just basically dominated her opponent. And then she said in the media that the weight cut wasn't that problem. The only problem was putting the weight back on to get to lightweight, which she did very well. Or in fact, I should say that the weight cut was the problem, but put the weight back on wasn't a problem. But with her extensive experience in the lightweight division of PFL, and then having time to get back to her normal weight, and getting that win in the lower weight class where there's a lot of faster fighters there, I think that's going to benefit her the most. Even though you can't use elbows in the PFL, I think the fact that she's going to be able to go in there, she's going to be able to throw down Moraes, avoid anything Moraes throws at her, because she's far better competition in this format last time around compared to now. All Kayla Harrison has to do is watch out for any of the shots coming from Moraes. If she can do that, she should dominate this fight. I see her taking her down. One of Moraes' actual weaknesses is losing by submission. She's lost by submission 3-4 times in her career, and that's what Kayla Harrison is. Strength is the judo, and then locking in an arm bar or a choke. And I feel like in this matchup, I feel like Kayla Harrison's going to win by first round submission. She's going to beat her by armbar. She's going to throw it down Ronda Rousey style and lock in the armbar and make her tap. So in this matchup, I got Kayla Harrison by first round armbar. In the main event of the evening, we have a heavyweight matchup pin up UFC long stay Fabricio Werdum going up against Renan Ferreira. Fabricio Werdum, who everybody knows, he's a grappler, BJJ guy who's known for being able to lock in any submission at any moment in his career. He's done it against the who's who of the UFC and Strikeforce. He's won multiple championships doing so. And his opponent, who is Renan Ferreira, this interestingly is a protege of the Nogueira brothers, who are good friends with Fabricio Werdum. Renan Ferreira is going to have the height advantage, as always in this matchup. Werdum comes in a smaller guy, and then he's known, being a Nogueira protege, he's going to be known for his BJJ and his striking in his matchup. I'm interested to see how Fabricio Werdum does in this matchup, but I feel like the height advantage is going to be too much for him, and knowing that Renan Ferreira can strike, I think that's going to be a bad news for Werdum, because he's had a weakness against striking opponents of lately, and then unless he can lock in a submission early on, I don't think Werdum's gas tank is good anymore, whereas I think Renan Ferreira can last the whole fight because he's going to be trying to do so. But in this matchup, I feel like I'm going to go with the Renan Ferreira by second round knockout. I feel like he's going to be able to withstand the grappling of Werdum, even though Werdum is a big sign in this for this weight class. I feel like he's going to falter with his gas tank and then trying to lock in submissions against his opponent. And then I feel like Ferreira's going to catch him with a shot, and it's going to pull out the big upset in the heavyweight division, and he's going to get the 5 points going into the second matchup next month. So in this one, in the main event of the evening, I got Renan Ferreira winning 5 points and getting the second round knockout over Fabricio Werdum. That will do it for my week 3 predictions for PFL for the heavyweight and women's lightweight division matchups on PFL 2021. Once again, tune in Thursday to catch the whole fight card on ESPN2, and let us know what you think of my predictions. Do so in the comment sections on YouTube. I'll try to comment back to you guys. But once again, this is Cage My IQ, the best place for MMA content. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. And then don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel right there at Cage My IQ. And then follow all of our content, and then check out any content that you missed. Just go to the YouTube channel, go to videos, and check it all out. And once again, we are affiliated with the Sports Box. You can follow the Sports Box right there below on the ticker, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and then subscribe there to their YouTube page. We got a whole bunch of different sports podcasts on there for all your enjoyment. Whatever sport you like, it's likely being talked about on the Sports Box. So go to the YouTube page, check it out, and check out any of our daily podcasts on there. But once again, I'm your host, D-Bake. This was the PFL Week 3 preview, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for watching this episode of Cage My IQ on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at Crowd Play. Download the free Crowd Play app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.